the tenancy laws for victims of domestic violence. Now, I've talked about this before. I talked about it a few months ago. We've had so many questions about it in the last few weeks that I figured it's timely to talk about it again. We've written about it for this week's newsletter. And, I guess we're leading into International Women's Day on Monday. So, it's sort of a whole lot of things are fresh in our head. And I talked to an agency about it this morning and about the requirements for agents and just the requirements in general about, the effects of domestic violence on either women or on whoever is the victim of domestic violence, whether it's women, men, or anyone who's the recipient. So, as property professionals, as agents in New South Wales, it's important to have a really good understanding of these new tenancy laws. They came through the changes 2 years ago, just over 2 years ago now, in terms of the termination by a tenant for circumstances of domestic violence. Now, this means that a tenant can end their tenancy immediately. The important words are coming, is without penalty, if they or their dependent child are in the circumstances of domestic violence. Now, what we need to know here, the changes around this have changed in the evidence that is required from the victim of domestic violence. So the tenant will need to give their landlord or their agent a domestic violence termination notice and attach some evidence. Now, that evidence can be conviction for a domestic violence offence and a provisional, interim or final domestic violence order. It can be a family law injunction, and lastly, it can be a declaration in the prescribed form made by a competent person. Now, it used to be a declaration made by a medical practitioner. That has been broadened. Now, this happened on the 11th of December, just a couple of months ago now, so really fresh, and there is a wider range of competent persons. So it's now not just a medical practitioner. So it does fall firstly into registered health practitioners who are under the health practitioners regulation, which is a common, there's national laws around that, but also, New South Wales effects on that. And there's a full list of that on the new forms that are on the Fair Trading website. But, it comes down to practitioners under that in Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander health practices, dental, medical, nursing, midwifery, occupational therapy, physiotherapy, pharmacy, dental. The list is quite extensive. Then there's social workers who are members of the Australian Association of Social Workers. There's employees of New South Wales government agencies, of non-government agencies that are providing services related to domestic violence. And then, of course, there's approved counsellors under the victims' rights legislation. So there's a whole range of competent people that can attest to the incidence of domestic violence. So there's new forms around the competent person forms, and they are on the Fair Trading website. They're also, you can find them on any of the government websites, but certainly the easiest place to find any of these things, particularly for agents, is on the New South Wales Fair Trading website. Easy to find. And, I think the thing is here, there's a lot of people who are worried about that people will use this as an opportunity to get out of a lease. Look, and I said it this morning when I was talking to some agents about this, that yes, they might, but that small percentage that are going to do the wrong thing, there's always a percentage in the community that will do the wrong thing, and that small percentage, I don't know, maybe karma will sort that out sometime, later down the path. But I think the fact that we have this is protecting so many people and giving them an opportunity to leave a tenancy, leave a place of accommodation where they're not safe without penalty. And that's the big deal here. So guys, make sure that you're aware, particularly property managers, make sure that you're aware of where the forms are, how to get them, how to support your tenants in their moving out. I know your fiduciary duty is to your landlord, and the majority of landlords will be decent human beings and will want to facilitate this as well. So just know how to, implement your duty of care in terms of caring about somebody who needs to get out of a particular place of accommodation. So that's what the new tenancy laws for victims of domestic violence are about.